All right, I'm going to go through this other one that has all of the variances on it. So if you would take it out, it didn't have all the variances added. So if you would add on your handout this additional information, and then honestly, do this on another sheet of paper so you can go back to it and see if you could figure this out on your own, because you're going to have to do this in the final. So you're going to have to practice this. It's really the only way you can learn this, is to practice it. So our additional information is direct materials. You purchased and used 110,000 pounds of iron at $2 per pound. Each pump's standard cost information used 5.2 pounds of iron at a standard cost of $1.90 per pound. So as we go through this, we're just simply going to plug in the numbers. So hopefully you've set it up. So if not, pause your video and see if you can set it up. So materials are actual quantity times actual price. Actual quantity times standard price, standard quantity allowed times standard price. Labor, actual hours times actual rate, actual hours times standard rate, standard hours allowed times standard rate. And then your overhead is actual for variable and fixed. Again, I only need the totals. Flexible budget, then applied. So let's go through this. So water control manufactures water pumps and uses a standard cost system. The standard overhead cost per water pumps are as follows, based on direct labor hours. So right there, I know my base is direct labor hours. So I know that my formula for overhead is estimated manufacturing overhead divided by your estimated base gives you your rate. Okay? And my base right there is direct labor hours. Okay, this tells me variable overhead is 4 hours at $8 an hour. So again, I can do estimated overhead divided by my estimated base gives me my rate, and I know my rate is $8 an hour for variable and $5 an hour for fixed. I also know that it says, I have a little asterisk there, it says based on capacity of 100,000 direct labor hours. So I know my base is 100,000. So I'm going to go down here. And where I've done that, so for fixed, I have estimated overhead that I don't know, divided by my estimated base of 100,000, right there, that gives me 5, okay? So now I can back into the 500,000 because I know that some number divided by 100,000 equals 5, so 5 times that is 5. I can do the same for variable, but it's not as important, but I just need to know this 8. So what happens is this 500,000 goes here. This 5 is fixed, so it goes, I've got my fixed second here. So it goes here. And this 8 goes right there. Okay? So far, generally I don't start with overhead, but since they have it first, I did it first, so I just write it down as I read it. So I figure out my overhead application rate. The reason this goes here is for a flexible budget. If I budgeted $500,000 of overhead, fixed overhead, it's the same amount for everyone. So write down those numbers, okay? Then you're going to practice it on your own after this. Okay, so again, hopefully you have out your sheet. Then it says the following information is available for the month of November. 22,000 pumps were produced. Stop. And your standard quantity allowed, 22,000, 22,000, 22,000, 22,000. Because standard quantity allowed is actual finished goods times the standard input each. So I want 22,000 all the way down. Although 25,000 had been scheduled for production. So notice 25,000 was my budget. Each of them took 4 hours, so 25,000 times 4 hours gives me this 100,000. So they did not have to give me this right there. I could have figured that out myself without them giving it to me. Next one, 95,000 direct labor hours were worked. So right there, actual hours. At a total cost of $940. So now I know $940. Now I can back into the 10. So I put $940 here too. So I'm done with that. The direct labor rate is 9, so I can write that there, and I can write that there. Now I have the 22,000 units, but I need it in hours, and it says the standard direct labor time per unit is 4 hours, so now I have that. So now I have every one of these numbers. So now I can see that my labor rate variance is 94,000 unfavorable, and my labor time variance is 54,000 unfavorable. So I'm going to clear all those. Variable overhead costs were 740. So I go down to my actual, I put 740, and fixed overhead were 540. So 540. So right now what I have for the information that I know these two, I know I've done that one, and I know I've got my 22,000 in there, and I've got my 5 and my 8. And remember, I'm applying these on the basis, if you go read up there at the top, you're applying them on the basis of direct labor hours. So now I can fill in my 4, so I have direct labor hours times $8 per hour. So then this one is just simply moved over there. Okay, so that comes over there. So now I've got this one done. So my overhead spending variance is 76,000. So I add these two up, get that, add those two up, add those two up, etc. And my volume variance is 60,000. I can prove my volume variance in just a second, but I thought I was going to have 100,000 hours, and I only had 22,000 times. I'll have to stop a little bit and get that. Okay, so now I'm going to let me clear all these. So now the only thing I've got is my materials left. Okay, and that's when I discovered I didn't give it, and I kind of wanted to do that, so I added this. So we purchased and used 110,000 pounds of material, so 110,000 pounds, so I need a price per pound. 110,000 pounds, I need a price per pound. Each pump standard cost information uses 5.2 pounds, so each pump uses 5.2, so I have right there that 5.2. At a standard cost of $1.90. So $1.90 for my standard cost. That leaves me to get a materials price variance of 11,000 unfavorable, and a material quantity variance of 8360 favorable. So that's it. Hope that helps. Hope you actually take the time to practice. You really need to.